Now, this question was asked a lot. You thinking of trying TRT? And now, I'm sure you saw the recent video that
What's up guys, Derek, moreplace188.com. Today we are going to be talking about Rob Lipsett. This is I don't know if he's like an OG YouTuber, but he's been around for a minute and he is, I don't know, one of like the premier lifestyle vlogging, fitness, hybrid channels out there. You will often see him on saucy yachts with guys like Thurston and Merijn and shit. You'll see him, traveling the world, most notably in fucking Ibiza, like a million times a year it seems like. But more recently, he has, come under more intense scrutiny. He already has been accused of, being unnatty several times. And I always thought he was, a true example of like a peaked, like pretty fucking good genetic natural guy. But more recently, he started to take on a little bit more of a full look whilst maintaining seemingly the same leanness. And in addition to that, he almost seems to have a bit more fullness everywhere. Like you can almost see it around the face a little bit. This is something you would only see typically with guys who are on exogenous T, to be honest. It's one of the most flagship markers. You see a bit more intracellular hyperhydration, essentially systemically, like all over the place, not just in the muscle, but as well as in the face. And there's a reason why guys on gear or on test, it depends on the fucking compound, how lean you are, of course, but I mean, in general, you're gonna hold a little bit more fluid than you would otherwise at the same body fat percentage. In general, So for him, he looks fucking great, but he's always looked fucking great. The guy has been in shape basically perpetually since he fucking started his channel. And he doesn't look that unnatty, He looks pretty, just like a great physique, athletic guy. Most people would love to look like this, and objectively, his lifts and shit have not really changed that much. But again, he has seemed to pack on maybe 5 to 10 pounds of muscle since, a year ago maybe. Maybe that's a bit extreme, maybe not 10 pounds of muscle, but he's definitely gotten a little bit more juicy. So anyways, one thing I wanted to note is bring up this video. I'm trying to be as objective as possible, by the way, because this guy's like really fucking on the fence for some people, and I'm kind of just, going as I see it as we get through this shit here. So anyways, he posted this last year, almost exactly a year ago, and he talks about TRT. And notably, he mentions what he would be willing to do essentially. Like a lot of guys just avoid the question entirely or, lie to their fucking teeth. But here he actually talks about pretty transparently what he thinks about TRT and if he would ever do it.
now, this question was asked a lot. You thinking of trying TRT? And now, I'm sure you saw the recent video that Merijn did talking about his kind of new TRT protocol. Again, before that video went live, me and Merijn is one of the best guys you could ever meet in your whole entire life, by the way.
So if you remember the Merijn video, I basically, it's kind of a similar thing. Maybe Merijn had a bit more of an apparent change, to be honest, but he had been maintaining a lean year-round physique, starting to impact his quality of life a bit. Obviously, he was quite tired of being stagnant in his progress, and he decided to get on the TRT bandwagon. What his dose is exactly, we don't know. But again, we do know that it is indeed doctor-prescribed procedure called TRT. I believe that's what he fucking said.
I'm not cycling steroids. I'm not using SARMs. I am following a medical procedure. It's called TRT, under supervision of a doctor. All right, so it's a bit different than you might have expected,
So anyways, and notably, Lipsett, good friend of his, has a lot of friends that are on the Sazul, and he, I'm sure has grown a little bit tired of, maintaining the exact same fucking thing perpetually, goddamn 24/7, 365. So he talks about the likelihood of what he would, if he would end up going on it too.
By the way, I absolutely love Merijn. We're very close. And so obviously in Ibiza, before he made that video, we were speaking about it. We had a good chat about everything. So go watch his video on that. It's so good to see how open and honest he is. And I can tell you from personal experience, they're his thoughts. That's exactly what he thinks. He says what's on his mind, and he's very open and honest. So Merijn, I love you. Now, in terms of me taking TRT, this is something that I have actually spoken about. And here's a clip with me and Joey D from, I shit you not, 5 years ago, okay?
Like TRT is another conversation, like when you get older and your natural testosterone drops, like, and you go on TRT, not necessarily like, you know, you're not going on D-ball and shit. You know, when you're on testosterone replacement therapy, your quality of life actually goes up, like your sex drive, you've more energy. So when you're older, it's not even about like being aesthetic, it's about your actual quality of life. That's something I'll definitely do.
Before we go on, can we actually give me some respect on how gracefully I've aged? Not a wrinkle. Well, few wrinkles. Maybe cameras are just getting better. That's probably it, to be honest. Probably aged terribly, but I just bought a better camera.
Was he like fucking 20 years old in the first video? Like how not gracefully can you age from like 20 to 25 or some shit?
Anyways, my thoughts are pretty much the exact same. I'm so open to taking TRT when I feel the need to. I'm 28 years old now.
Okay, well still.
I feel great. I'm full of energy. You know, the gains could definitely be better, but you know, I've got a physique that I'm happy with.
So again, you can tell a lot of this is angles. A lot of it is just situational too, because it's not like he looks that much different, to be honest. Is this just a matter of angles? Is it a matter of he has a better tan because he's goddamn year-round in Ibiza at this fucking point, or what? But some of these shots, you know, is he just better at fucking manipulating shit? I don't know.
And I'm aware that, you know, if I walk down the beach, it's going to be better than most people's physique. But like I said in the video, when I'm into my 30s, maybe 2 years time, you know, maybe next year, my testosterone levels will all of a sudden tank. I don't know. I will definitely take TRT when I feel is the right time. And, you know, again, I've looked into research behind it, doing it responsibly. It's a good thing to do for older men. So yeah, I'm definitely open to TRT. And that's my thoughts on it. My answer is the same as it was 5 years ago. What a throwback that video is, by the way. Just me and Joe sat in a park in Dublin, not knowing what life holds for us.
Just talking about TRT. So anyway, this is his transformation from age 19 to 23 when he made the majority of his progress. This is after 1 year of lifting here and then upwards of, like I would say the majority of his progress. And then from there, he's, you know, eked out a little bit per year maybe. But he's also become a very successful entrepreneur. He has a lot of shit on the go. He's, you know, fucking spinning plates like crazy in terms of, you know, business, social life, going to fucking Ibiza, all this kind of shit that is probably not part of his lifestyle when he was, well, maybe he was still traveling when he was younger, but he had a lot less to juggle, I would imagine. Well, actually, I don't know. It depends. In general, I feel like more guys, as they get deeper into their 20s, into their 30s and whatnot, they start to prioritize away from the gym a little bit and they go more towards maintaining rather than trying to build on what they have, and they allocate less time to it and more time to it. Because again, to maintain, it takes significantly less weekly volume and just, you know, effort in general to maintain what you have versus build. So if you can lower your, you know, overall physical activity burden a little bit and then allocate it more to entrepreneurship stuff. And in general, this guy's, you know, running multiple companies now. He's doing this. He has a bunch of fucking, you know, sponsors and stuff. Like, I can imagine it would be difficult to eke out more progress as the years go on. And then that sort of lends itself to the argument too of why is this guy seemingly better despite having to balance more stuff on his plate now. But is he really better? That's the fucking tough thing, dude. You know, this one's like super on the fence. You know, for some people, anyway, some people would be like, this is blatantly natural. Why the fuck would you say otherwise? This is definitely just decent genetics. And then other people would say there's definitely a difference. And again, I've had a lot of requests for this one, believe it or not. So we're fucking covering it regardless. Like, I'm actually still, you know, I scrolled all the way back to his Instagram, the beginnings of it. Hard to make a judgment call here. You can see him looking fucking awesome as far back as 2014. This is his after shot. Is he as big as he is in, you know, the recent shots? Probably not, you know. But again, is this just you're in, you know, perfect heat, so your vascularity is all coming out? You're fucking, I don't know, pumped up. Like, who knows, man? Better tan. Your diet's a bit more on point, even though you're traveling. Tough to say, dude, to be honest. Like, this is, like, you see him as far back as 2014, and he's basically, you know, maintained reasonably close to what he's at. Like, I would definitely say he's gained size since this point. Like, objectively, he's gained, you know, at least a handful of pounds of muscle, it seems. But more so leading towards the middle of his, you know, fitness journey, he starts to have, you know, spots where you could say he's comparable to what he is now. Now, again, as far back as here, I still think he's made progress since that point, pretty clearly. And good for fucking him for doing that, even after being like presumably pretty peaked as a natural. And as far back as here, his strength numbers too were not that much different. You know, like if you go to his chest and tacos 3-plate bench, this is relatively recent, I guess. Rob, didn't you bench 3 plates a few years ago in raw gym? Strong lad. Yeah, bro. Then lockdown happened, lost my gains for a while, crying laughing face. Feels. And here he shows how he can max out 3 plates. So here it is, loading it up. 3 fucking pizzas, boys. Here we go. So yeah, you know, it's probably safe to say, did he have a second one in the tank? I don't know, but I mean, his bench has not really changed for years. So if he did get on TRT, it certainly didn't impact his strength that much. But again, there are a lot of guys that take gear who remain, you know, similar strength or get bigger and stronger, and then they stop training for strength necessarily and go more towards a hypertrophy focused split. You know, the neurological adaptations that were, you know, are kind of recruited in strength accrual over the years. You can easily lose progress in that pretty fucking quick if you're not training with that style, if you're not trying to progressively overload in the way that you used to. Like, I lost so much fucking weight on all of my compound lifts because I stopped training the way I used to train, and then, you know, getting back into it, you can be down 100 pounds on your compound lifts, like, you know, in not that long of a time span just by focusing on different shit, despite objectively not really losing a lot of muscle, you know? Just the way you recruit motor units in the gym and the way you go about your training style is all going to dictate, to some extent, you know, how much you can actually lift in a, you know, max force production. How much can you do in fucking 1 rep? A 1 rep max, what can you actually get up? And it's going to differ quite greatly depending on how you've been training up to that point, how you've kind of prepared yourself. So if you just, you know, randomly get on a 1 rep max after, you know, lockdown or whatever, and not trying to, you know, really maintain strength, it's going to be a lot worse than when you've been actually training to that point and focusing very strictly on progressive overload, presumably with less on your plate, less entrepreneurship, less companies, less whatever. So it's plausible that as a natural, he was as strong as he is potentially on TRT now. I don't think that's out of the realm of question, despite being, you know, bigger and holding a bit more intramuscular size than he once was. This is a thread that was put up on the subreddit and is basically what spurred me to really be like, okay, fuck it. I've had enough requests at this point. Let's actually evaluate it. Video idea. This guy, Rob Lipsett, is a massive fitness influencer in my country who has claimed on national television that he's 100% natty. What the fuck? How is there a flare for a Greg's cookbook? This is 100% natty attainable, bro. The fitness industry has fried your mind. That's not to say for sure that he doesn't dabble in sauce from time to time, but him claiming natty really isn't too far-fetched. He's also like 5'9", so that also works in his favor for looking jacked. I totally agree. This guy in everyday circumstances probably looks very normal. I've met this guy, Rob Lipsett, in real life, and he looks way smaller in person. Still a great physique, but also if you look at old footage of him, his physique hasn't really changed much. I agree, it hasn't changed that much. I think it's changed. I don't think it's that much though. Plus, he hasn't had any sus periods where he gained a load of mass post newbie gains. Of course, I cannot know for sure, but if I had to guess, I would say natty. Agree, he looks rather skinny in clothes. Username checks out. His upper arms look kind of short. Oh yeah, you're right. Photoshop or camera angling maybe? Honestly, this is possible naturally with decent genetics, great diet and routine. Now, with that being said, in real life, a lot of people take gear just to look even that good. So whether or not he's clean, who knows, but that is definitely possible natty with a good pump and lighting. His traps look rather normal. Why his humerus short as fuck? By deleted. Makes me wonder what mechanical advantages / dust advantages he has doing curling movements. Photoshop. Videos of him next to other people he isn't huge. He's also not very tall. He's constantly lean, so it's hard to say. Ended up scrolling back to his Instagram. February 3rd, 2019, he's posing with Zach Perna and Delaney. Both Joey D and Rob look natty, with Zach looking extremely saucy. Don't think he was always, but recent years, he seems to have made that jump. In terms of Rob, unless he takes photos of himself with the pump when not anywhere near a gym, he certainly looks more vascular and larger since roughly November 2020. Yeah, so, like, to be honest, dude, I think his physique is like the best it's ever been. I think, like, with simultaneous size, vascularity, with still seemingly similar cuts. Like, it's not like he's gotten drastically fatter or smoother looking, but he seems to have gained a little bit of, like, you know, volume in general. Like, in the, just everywhere. It seems like he's a bit fuller. Is that just a matter of, you know, like a Matt does fitness? Like, I just distribute fat so fucking favorably that I can just get bigger linearly and not look like I packed any fat on my abs? Or is it a matter of this guy is, you know, a little fucking something there? So anyways, this is him in the more recent shots, seemingly a bit fuller. Is it just the tan? Is it just the what? I don't know. Let's see what else he says. But objectively, I do sort of agree with him that he looks, here's him beside the fucking chess god himself, Mike Thurston. Not looking small, dude. Not looking small at all, in my opinion. So anyways, getting back to the thread, I think I agree that he looks a bit bigger, for sure. On top of this, you have to remember since even 2018, where he looked similar but fractionally smaller, he's made the kind of gains you would expect in 2.5 years or so. Nothing crazy noticeable for this part. However, I agree that it's more than likely, even if he hasn't taken a lot, by this stage he's taken something. Maybe not steroids, but fat burners, or perhaps he does do TRT or occasionally pops Anavar. With the way Rob is and the fact he wants to stay relevant and make money, he must have an immense amount of pressure to look good. And he seemed to be one of the rowdiest and craziest guy out of the bunch of them, and he still maintains this really lean, crisp physique. Obviously, we will never see his physique at its worst, and his arms are very small, so it's hard to believe he's taken anything major. I'll also add in that his physique, whether natural or not himself, is very achievable naturally for most individuals. He doesn't have insane genetics by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, I wouldn't say the physique is achievable naturally for the majority of people. I would say the actual body composition metrics, which presumably is what this guy actually means, I think are achievable naturally for a lot of people. If he's actually, if I recall correctly, like 170 pounds at like 5'9"-ish or something, I think that's achievable for a lot of people. I don't think once people get to 170 lean though, they're gonna look like Rob does. I think he has very favorable like distribution of mass, like his inserts, everything, you know, his ab genetics, how lean he stays, adherence to a like reasonable calorie intake year round, despite being in circumstances where fucking, I'm sure buffets are on the table, drinking's on the table, all this stuff and all this temptation's on the table, and yet he stays pretty damn strict. But yeah, I think the actual metrics themselves are like, you know, pretty damn achievable for sure. For people with, you know, above average genetics, I would say a lot of people are not going to end up looking like that though. Let's see. I'll also add in his physique, whether natural or blah, blah, blah. He doesn't have insane genetics by any stretch of the imagination. Seeing him at expos in real life, he's short and really not that big at all. Still more muscular than 98% of people, but nothing that isn't achievable without drugs. Saw him last year. He was casually going to throw the trash, and happens I was getting coffee and saw him. He looks, or at least looked, so small in person. I think it's just good lighting, pump, and good tan. This isn't achievable natty. Why even lift? LOL, to be honest. 100% juice considering his catabolic lifestyle. He parties almost every day, drinks a lot, and does coke. What the? Jeez, put him on blast. You can see in his YouTube videos where he always has some form of trend cough and a raspy voice. Oh, Jesus, fuck. I don't know about that one, dude. Hey, coke is great at keeping you lean. Trend cough comes from being here at the moment. It's not like a smoker's cough that lingers. Facepalm. Is the coke in Ireland any good? Jesus, this is going off track here. I don't know. He hangs out with Thurston a lot and they party, but they don't drink alcohol. Let's see. He looks natty to me. I like Rob, even if he is a bit of a dipshit. Jesus. He's got a great physique that is natty attainable. Wouldn't be surprised if he's dabbled in the Sazul in order to maintain his lifestyle. He's quite tiny and absolutely cracked. He's annoying as fuck and attributes it to being like so caffeinated right now, bro. All this time. This is harsh, bro. By Juan Moore Rep. Just from my educated guess, he isn't natural, but only as of late. Looking back at his photos from last year to current day, he's managed to add significant lean tissue while being deep in the hole for training multiple years. Great genetics and very dialed in, but wouldn't be surprised if he is on a small amount of test. Massive. Hello? Are we talking about the same people? I love Robin. He has an amazing body and trains like a beast, but he's also like 5'7", 165 lean in clothes. You would never guess he's the same person. He just uses angles and stays lean, only posts the best pics like everyone else. Check him in some of Joe Delaney's vlogs and stuff. Unflex, no pump, not hitting angles, etc. Damn, dude. It is a lot of people saying natty, some people saying not. It is a little bit fucking divided here, so I would defer to you guys. This is him way back in the day. Like, how far back are we at this point? This is 2016. Like, I'll be honest, dude, the face does not look exactly the same to me. Now, is that just age? I'm not saying it in a bad way either. I just mean like the way he holds fluid just seems a little bit different to me in some aspects. It's fucking hard to say. It's definitely gained size since this point. You know, if I was to go out on a limb and I had to say, and I was going to compare this is like November 22nd, 2017 versus now. Let's see what he looks like now again. Let's pull up some comparisons directly, like right beside each other. We have this versus this. Like, there's definitely a fucking size difference. Don't get me wrong. Or this, just looking goddamn glycogen loaded and shredded whilst concurrently about to go for a run. Fucking solid. Versus that, like, there's huge difference here, dude, to me. A huge fucking difference. Is he just depleted as hell here? And that's why, and this is just a result of a, I don't know, good carb load, and somehow he blows up like what appears to be fucking 10 pounds of tissue? tough to say, but he's definitely gained a bit since this point, and I feel like I'm being just redundant fucking talking about it at this point. I'm just trying to see exactly where the disparity really lies, because at this point, he is still definitely smaller. We're in July 2018, so it's definitely not lockdown losses. You know, he mentions how he lost some gains during COVID, which, you know, presumably, you know, a lot of people did during that time when you couldn't go to the gym, you couldn't train properly. Here he is again, not looking the same as he does now. Is this just lighting? Is it just pump? Tough to fucking say, man. And he starts to look a bit better, I guess, in this is the same fucking year, 2018. But again, I would still say he is not where he's at now, you know? 2019, June 2019. Okay, so this is like, you know, peak 4 days until Ibiza, ready to undo all my progress. Crying, laughing face, shredding season. Oops, pressed the hashtag by accident. Don't want to go to that. So yeah, obviously he was trying to get peaked for Ibiza, and this is when, you know, lockdown wasn't happening. He had all the opportunity and the know-how and access to gym to get as good of a physique as he could for this. And he doesn't look, does he look as good as he did this trip around? No. Like, this is, to be honest, dude, I'm fucking on the fence. I'm on the fence, bro. Like, if I would say, if anything, literal therapeutic TRT. You know? Like, these shots, there is definitely a disparity. Here he is in March 31st, 2020. Where I'd rather be, can't wait to go on some epic adventures again. Is that a recent pick? I don't know. But again, if you fast forward, there's definitely some progress being made to some extent. Is it a huge disparity? Not really. It's not such a huge disparity that you would say for sure something's going on, but I think it's safe to say it's the best he's ever looked, in my opinion. And that's fine, you know? Could be natural. Could be that he's just super on point versus, you know, in 2020, 2019, like granted, mid-2020, nobody's going to be on point, but 2019, early 2020, presumably everybody's going to be in a, like, this is after lockdown, and then this is going into, you know, August 7th, looking a bit more streamlined, not as big, that's for sure, and then getting into September, and then presumably the time frame that people think he started to hop on the TRT bandwagon is around this point here, and starts to get a bit more, I don't know, is he just regaining lost progress, or is he actually getting fucking bigger with real new tissue? The face starts to get a bit fuller, the muscles get a bit fuller and rounder, gets a bit more vascular simultaneously. Lifts don't really change. He gets back to some of his like years ago lifts. Is that indicative of anything though? I'll be honest, man. If anything, I think this is TRT. I would not be surprised if we saw like a TRT come out video like Merijn soon, but it is definitely an on the fence one. Although I do definitely think there's an argument that this is absolutely naturally achievable for guys with good genetics. So anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All the comments help the algorithm. They're much appreciated. Like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplacemoredates.com. Follow me on Instagram, @moreplacemoredates, Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you check out anything I'm associated with. In the video description below, my TRT clinic, it's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home. Gorilla Mind, nootropic formulas, Gorilla Mode, pre-workout formulas. I design myself from scratch. I'm recommended lab tests and diagnostics. Stay on top of your health and anything else I'm associated with. It is all in the video description below. If you're looking for high quality medical oversight for your own HRT endeavors, highly recommend you check out our clinic, linked in the description below. Our doctors understand how to interpret biomarkers, how to create an individualized protocol for you based on your own individual needs, and we are not a testosterone mill that will just throw you on shit for the sake of making a markup on medication. Rather, we make our markups on the services and high quality medical oversight rather than the medications themselves. So if you're just looking for a legal script essentially from a testosterone mill, that's not us. So go elsewhere, I guess. But if you're looking for an actual good fucking doctor who will keep you safe and monitor you, and you can be confident in their evaluation of your personal needs and make individualized specific recommendations for optimization based on what you need, and it doesn't necessarily even involve hormones or pharmacology at all. It could be lifestyle interventions and whatnot. Then check it out. It's all in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.